Hey everybody, welcome to the Karate America Community Livestream. I'm Mrs. Quirk. It's so good to be with you on this Tuesday evening right after Memorial Day, holiday weekend, kicking off the month of June. We have with us tonight Mr. Stavropoulos. Sir, it is so good to have you with us. Thank you so much for being a guest on our live stream tonight.
Thank you. It's great being here. Thank you for getting me ready so I can know where to look and be comfortable. You did a very good job getting me ready, so thank you.
Absolutely, and I know we're having a little bit of issues tonight with our connectivity, with our internet connections, but you know what? This is real life. This is a real live stream, so we're just going to try to get through it as much as we can. If we have to end a little bit early, we will. I hope we won't. I hope that whether we're an AT&T or Spectrum or Verizon customer, everybody cooperates with us tonight and keeps us going.
Yeah.
So again, it's good to have you with us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to get into some great conversation tonight. And before we get started, we do have some announcements. So first and foremost, if you are watching us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, welcome. We're so happy to have you with us tonight. We hope that you have comments and questions for Mr. Stavropoulos. We're going to get into his martial arts story, the story of his family, as we go through the live stream tonight. Make sure if you're on Facebook that you go right above us and you can actually authenticate through StreamYard so that we can see who you are and see your name when you leave a comment. Otherwise, you just come up as blank Facebook user, and that's not so good. So make sure that you authenticate through StreamYard. If you're watching through Twitch and YouTube and you're logged in, you're already there, no problem. But please leave emojis, leave comments, leave questions for us tonight. We really want to hear your voice on the stream and not just be the two of us being the only ones doing the talking. So our announcements so far tonight are we are still in the midst of our Role Models Train Free event in honor of Mother's Day in June, Mother's Day in May, Father's Day in June. We are, of course, as most of you know, we're inviting all of our adult role models who have made a difference for us, had an impact on us in our lives to train absolutely free at Karate America Brookfield, Pewaukee, or even virtually worldwide. So this is a great offer that's going through even now for I think another 3 weeks through June 18th. If you haven't already invited your role model, your person who inspires you, make sure that you give them that invitation so they can get a few weeks of free training at least at Karate America. We have the Roland Osborne Seminar is coming at the end of June on June 26th. Mr. Roland Osborne is a world-renowned martial artist. He trains, teaches, coaches literally all over the world. I'll pop up his poster right there. That's Mr. Osborne. If any of you have been fortunate enough to train with him in the past or take one of our seminars with Mr. Osborne in the past, you know that it is just a phenomenal opportunity to learn from truly one of the best world-class martial artists that we have of this generation. So if you have not yet signed your son or daughter, your child up for the Roland Osborne Seminar on June 26th, make sure you do it soon because we do have limited capacity. We have students coming in from Appleton, from the Oregon area, the Madison area, from all over to take the seminar. Mr. Osborne is flying in from California. We couldn't be more excited. So make sure you follow up with your instructors, your teams at your community. And even if you're a worldwide student, ask Mr. Pieper and Ms. DeWade what the worldwide streaming option is for the seminar, because we are working on getting that in there for our worldwide families and students as well. We are full blown. I feel like it's really summer now. It's after the Memorial Day weekend. So that means just be aware that we always take a break for our team and our staff to just enjoy the July 4th holiday with their families. We take a break at Christmas and a break at the 4th of July. This year, our academies are closed for classes July 5th through the 9th. So no classes for Brookfield, Pewaukee, or our worldwide virtual students July 5th through the 9th. So moms, dads, people that are getting your kiddos to the classes, just put those dates on your calendars. We will be closed for those dates. Sign up to walk with Karate America Brookfield in the July 4th parade. They're having the July 4th parade in Brookfield. More information at the Academy, how you and your kids can be a part of this very special first parade back after the pandemic. It's opened up again, and we will be marching as we do every year aside from 2020 in the July 4th parade. So make sure you follow up with your team and your instructors at Karate America to find out how you can be a part of that really special event. We have a Karate America picnic is coming up July 17th, Saturday, July 17th at Rotary Park in Menominee Falls. Picnic's going to look a little bit different this year just because of some food restrictions and hygiene restrictions post pandemic. But what won't be different is we will all be there hanging out together as a community on hopefully a beautiful sunny afternoon in Rotary Park. Our staff has been working so hard on some really fun games. We're actually going to be streaming this for our worldwide families. I heard rumors that there's some trivia going on. So even our worldwide virtual families and students will be able to participate in the picnic this year. Mark your calendar, save the dates. We'll be getting more information out to you in the weeks to come. But for now, save the date for July 17th. And that's open to everybody in our community. Just let your Brookfield, your Pewaukee, or your worldwide team know that you are coming. They will get the sign-up sheets out to you in a few weeks. Last but not least, it's June 1st, and that means that T-shirt days are in effect. So all of our students for Brookfield, Pewaukee, and Worldwide, as of today, as of classes tonight, you got it. You can wear your Karate America T-shirts together with, of course, your martial arts belt and your martial arts uniform pants to your classes. Yes, we are grateful and blessed to have indoor air conditioning, but we are still really, really happy to be working out and taking classes in those nice, cool T-shirts for these hot days of summer. If you don't have your Karate America approved T-shirt yet for your son or daughter, for your student, make sure you follow up at the academy wherever you train to find out how you can get one of yours. But that's always, especially here in southeastern Wisconsin, when we don't have too many warm days and warm months, that is always a banner day when we have our T-shirt days kick off for the year. So that's all we got for announcements. Mr. Stavropoulos, thank you for being on tonight. You know, we're talking about this month, we're kicking off June for Father's Day. And we talked last month about, we had moms on, Karate America moms, talking about, you know, role models and leaders in our lives that are moms, grandmas. This month, we're talking, of course, about dads. So I wanted to start off, I have a whole bunch of questions here for you, and I'm sure you have some great answers for me, but talk to us first and foremost, for those of us who don't know you and your family, what is your story with Karate America? What's your family story with Karate America?
With Karate America, and I shared with you that I did all kinds of notes, but
yeah,
I normally don't look at them and I just say what I want to say. And I'm going to tell you that when Nico, Mr. Stavropoulos, my oldest son, when he was a little boy, I think he was maybe 5 years old, he had a lot of energy. So we walked out of our bedroom one day and we heard him say, "Mama, Baba," and we looked up. And he was in the ceiling, and he was sprawled like Spider-Man across the ceiling. And another time, if you're familiar with the term, clotheslined his little sister. And we thought there was, he liked the Power Rangers. He was really he had a lot of energy. And so I remember looking for different karate schools, and I went to 3 local karate schools, and, not to put them down, nothing felt right until I walked into Pick and Save, and there was a young man from Portage. Is that right?
Yep.
Mr. Jeff Quirk standing there handing out flyers or information.
Yep.
And immediately, he was welcoming and kind, and you could tell he was also somebody who was structured, physically fit, someone that I was really excited to have my son have as a role model. And it was really awesome. So we decided Nico got Mr. Stavro. Do I call him Nico or Mr. Nico?
Your dad, so you can always call him Nico for as long as you want. Go for it.
So we enrolled him, and it was fantastic. And I wish we could roll the tape of how many times he fell down before he finally figured out to do the things he does now, which is pretty extreme.
Yeah.
Then my daughter wanted to be involved, and we said, "Do you want to?" And she said, "I first have to see how the uniform looks." Mm-hmm. So she wanted to check the uniform, and I remember with each belt she got a new scrunchie.
That's right.
And the scrunchie matched the
color
belt.
Coordinated. Yeah.
Yes, and then Teddy, our youngest, got involved, and then we both, as parents, got involved, and it was fantastic. The grandparents got to come and watch. We spent so much time at Karate America, and it wasn't just. It wasn't just the classes, it was the friendships and the tournaments. And you guys had raised money for a young boy who had some surgeries, and, it was just such a good feeling. But it started with my oldest son having a lot of energy and us needing to focus that somewhere. And I didn't just go to the first karate school. I went to 4 And when I met Mr. Quirk, there was something special, and that's just anybody who knows him knows that's true. So that's a little bit of our story. I originally was training in Kempo martial arts because I was bullied when I was 11, and I went home and I told my mom I want to take karate. And what's interesting is the person that bullied me became one of my best friends. But I went after one class, and I was going to take on the whole school. What we found about Karate America, it wasn't about that. It was about, a lot more. It wasn't just about punching and kicking. It was about how to handle yourself. And even our Greek immigrant parents, they were skeptical at first, and then suddenly they were out on the mat doing kicks and holding. Do we still call it? I think you call it focus paper now. It was X-ray paper.
Yeah, X-ray paper, focus paper. Yep.
Yeah, and back then we saluted. And we didn't bow. Do we bow now?
Yep.
So it was, but the whole family got involved. Everybody was there. So that's how we got
the grandparents, I remember, were some of the most like ardent supporters, like at every event, and just there for tournaments and there for classes, there for special events. And a little piece of trivia, you probably know this, but some of our viewers and listeners might not. Mr. Nico Stavropoulos was our first ever Karate America birthday party at Karate America Brookfield. So he holds the honor, among many other honors, of being the very, very, very first Karate America birthday party. And I remember I wasn't quite sure what to do for the birthday party because it was our first one. And I went to a party store and we bought all this stuff. And I bought this like little, I think he was turning 5 or he was maybe turning 6 or something like that. And I got him this little like, as like #1 birthday boy or some ribbon or something like that I thought would be great. And he like refused to wear it. He was like way too cool for that. So I just remember he was like, no, thanks. And like politely put it down and like wouldn't wear the I still remember that.
You just when you were going through your events that you have coming up, and as you tell that story, so many smiles came to my face because I'm remembering so much just talking about it, and incredible.
Yeah, the hot, sweaty 4th of July parades and
in fact, well, we can just chat, right?
Right, absolutely.
The 4th of July parades, I still remember Nico was on the trailer and doing bow staff and doing some different kicks and flips. And I remember standing in the crowd and nobody knew who I was. And I said, wow, that guy's father must be pretty cool. So I lived through my son, as athletic and cool as he is. I feel like I had some part in that.
Yeah, well, please share. I mean, for those of you, I know that a lot of people tuning in have taken class from Mr. Nico Stavropoulos. He, like I said in my promo today, I mean, Mr. Nico Stavropoulos has been part of our community for the majority of his life, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's been a student, he's been an instructor, he's been a team member, he's been in our after school team. And a few years back, he made the decision to go out to Los Angeles to really pursue his purpose and his dream. So even though we were so sorry to see him go and we miss him dearly, we're really proud of him for being out there in California and just going for it and living his dreams. So, for those of you out there who have taken class with Mr. Stavropoulos, maybe your son or daughter was influenced by him, go ahead and leave a comment and let us know. We would love to hear what your experience was with Mr. Stavropoulos. Don't worry, you don't have to type out his whole name. You can say like Mr. S in the comments if you need to. We'll know who you're talking about. But please update us for those of us who don't know, like, what is Mr. Nico Stavropoulos, just kind of in a nutshell, what's he doing out there in California? Well,
he's working for Universal Studios, so he got himself in a couple different movies.
Nice.
Doing background stuff. I think he wants to be a stuntman, to be very straight. He just, he's doing a lot of training. If anyone's familiar, he took it to this level of tricking, which is, a lot of gymnastics combined with martial arts.
Really crazy, high level athleticism.
Right.
Just unbelievable Cirque du Soleil type stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what's really interesting is we raised him, you raise your children to be strong. And, I was talking with my father-in-law and I said, we taught him how to fly and he just flew away and he went all the way to California.
Yeah.
Which I wish he would have stayed, only because I think he was a great asset to Karate America.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the same time, going out there, he's just building his resume and everything he's doing. And just so people know, nothing comes easily. When he moved out there, he was driving Uber, walking dogs. The pandemic came. He was at one time working for a martial arts school. But he did everything to save money and scrape money. And
he's hustling. He's hustling.
It's a lot of hard work. And I think
Yep.
that was probably one of the things he learned at Karate America was nothing comes easily. You have to work hard at it. And
Yeah.
we're proud of him for that. He's always been so good with kids.
Yes.
Just
and
engaged.
adults. He's a great communicator. He's a great, makes great connections. I wonder where he got that from.
Well, we've always said this as parents, and I don't want to put words in Mrs. Stavropoulos' mouth, but Nico has always been, we've always heard great things about him. And we always said as parents, if the community and people around you are telling you what a great child you have, if he acts up a little bit at home, we would rather have that. So
Yeah.
we saw, and pretty much he was such a positive person. He would come down sometimes or come back from something and be like, "Hey, tell me about your day.
Yeah.
How was everything?" and
that's him.
He was very focused. So he's doing well. He comes and visits once in a while, but just really focused on doing his thing.
Well, we miss him too. We miss him terribly. And what is also true is that we're incredibly proud of him. We hope someday to see him in all the movies and all the things he wants to be doing. And save. If I've got his autograph anywhere, hopefully I've saved it. Because I really think that he'll be accomplished. All right. Am I back?
Yes.
All right. Woohoo. We got a comment here from Mrs. Deacon. Our very first ever birthday party at KA was with Mr. Stavropoulos when Michael turned 7. The same day he earned his first belt. How awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah, we miss him. My son just got his black belt at Pewaukee. I miss Mr. Stavropoulos always making my son look him in the eye and answer his questions. Yes, I love his communication skills. Carly and Ethan Konyeski. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your last name. I apologize. That's an awesome comment, though. Mrs. Jury says, my son Zach has been impressed with all the tricks and kicks, and it has had a lasting impression on him. He aspires to keep learning new things. Mrs. Pieper is saying, Mr. Nico Stavropoulos has always been so kind and caring. He always had time to talk and was so very sincere. Definitely. Absolutely. And from Ms. Fossen, we met Mr. Stavropoulos at Zoo Night about 9 years ago. One of the main reasons William switched to Karate America. Thank you for those comments. I mean, for me, it's like, wow, what an impact one person can have, right? What an impact each one of us can have. But specifically with Mr. Nico Stavropoulos using his gifts, his athletic ability and his hard work and all the things. I think one of the things that always really struck me about Mr. Stavropoulos was, a lot of kids and young people, not many were, to be completely honest, as talented as him, I'll be honest, but they were sort of like in that realm of being able to win the trophies and go to the tournaments and compete on the circuit and do the high flying kicks and tricks. But not many of them were as focused on kids and other people and truly helping and inspiring and supporting others as Mr. Nico Stavropoulos was. So that always really stood out to Mr. Quirk and I about him. He always had the heart of an instructor. He was a competitor who also had the heart of an instructor, and that doesn't happen very often. So good job, Mom and Dad at home, for putting that out into the world. We need more of those in our world today.
Yeah, I that makes me very proud to hear those things. And what did you bring up? The zoo. Oh yeah. My God, did we love the zoo? We loved the zoo, and we were at Brookfield Square one time, and I think Nico lost his sword off the stage at one point, but it was Mrs. Cardella, Rhonda Cardella. God bless her. She is still our friend to this day. No harm, no foul. But
I was not at that sword demo, but Mr. Quirk has told me about it, and like all the blood ran out of my head when he told me about it.
Couldn't have had a really nice lady, though. She was so good about it. But I remember at that particular Brookfield Square event, the way that the Karate America kids represented the school, not to mention any other schools, but I heard grumblings behind me from other schools, and there was never any of that at Karate America. It wasn't accepted.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it wasn't allowed. It was just really neat because I really believe being positive gives you power. If you're a good, positive person, when you need it most, if you ever had to use it, it'll be there.
Well, absolutely. And I think you bring up a great point. And like we always said, you know, it was not acceptable and still is not acceptable to us that we ever talk badly or talk down about other martial arts schools. We consider them to be in our community. They are fellow martial artists, and everybody, it's like ice cream and pizza for everybody wants a different flavor, and something's right for each different family. And who am I to say that, you know, another martial arts school's program isn't A+? It might be A+ for somebody else. And I think that's great as long as a family and a child are training and getting their lives changed in that way. That's all that really matters in the end. And we consider them to be, you know, our fellow family members in the community. We don't consider ourselves to be competing against them in any way, shape, or form. And when, you know, another martial arts school goes up and does a great demo, we're proud and we look better and we feel better. When they don't treat people right, we feel that, you know, we somehow have failed. We really feel connected with the greater martial arts community. And it was always really important to us. I'm glad that you remember that, because that was something that we always really tried to drive home with our students, and to not kind of stand around with like arms crossed scowling whenever anybody else got up to do a demo. We always tried to be cheering them on, and knew that it took a lot of courage to do that. So that's just, and I think that was before, I mean, you were a part of our community before we really defined explicitly our purpose, which is we inspire people to believe in themselves. But I create a story, you can tell me if I'm wrong, that you probably always felt that, right? Even though that purpose wasn't in words, it's like, that's who we are. We have our purpose and we live by our values. And that's who we've always been and always really, really tried to be for our families and our students.
I always remember reading just across the top, even if you were just as a student or just as a spectator, the words on the top: discipline, courage, and
focus, respect, integrity, all of them. Yeah.
All those things were so important. And I was about to, and I don't dare do the whole thing, but I am a karate student. I practice every day. I will always face my fears. I have a plan to find my way. Focus is my tool for learning. Self-discipline is cool. If it's to be, it's up to me. I take action every day. Listen to the words I say. My path is clear. My goal in sight. My black belt motto: might for right, sir.
Woo! Okay, all right. We need celebration emojis for Mr.
Did I get it?
Amazing. You got it verbatim.
Okay.
100% perfect. You've inspired me.
Because I know Mrs. Stavropoulos was probably cringing at home watching this. And
come on, you did a great job.
No, I don't think she's cringing. Like I said, she's proud. Yeah.
Mr. Cork says the Stavropoulos family has had a huge impact on our community as a whole. So glad I met you at Pick and Save that day. Oh, yes. And Mr. Pieper is saying the student creed.
Yes.
We got some fans here. Nicely done. Wow. I know, right? Word for word, this guy has it down. Yeah, that was 100%. 100%. Really well done. Well, and I think, we're talking about Mr. Nico Stavropoulos, who obviously is so well known by our community. And, you mentioned briefly when you came on the show tonight, I mean, your entire family, including you, have trained with Karate America. Your wife, Mrs. Tasa Stavropoulos, was one of our instructors really early on. She's one of our black belts. Your other two children, both Mia and Teddy, got their black belts, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So like the whole family, aside from what belt?
I got red stripe.
Me too.
Yeah, I know. I remember.
And you were one of my favorite partners to work with, truly, in class. I'm not saying that because you're on the stream. I've told everybody that you're one of my favorite partners to work with. I remember doing we always did the TikTok drills with kicking the X-ray paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would remind you, I was like, breathe. You're like,
yeah. You forget to breathe. True story. You do forget to breathe.
And we would do those line drills because at that time there was no dividing wall in Brookfield, so that was one long floor. And we would do the line drills, and I remember we'd be in our lines just like white face, just and be like, go down on your weak leg. You're like, why? And I'm like, because when you come back on your strong leg, then you're tired. You're like,
No, it's funny how you look at people you're working out with to motivate you, and even now, whether I'm lifting weights or something in the gym, having people around you really helps. I mean, having somebody to motivate you. My father, who never was in martial arts, he was a Greek immigrant doctor, and he would come out on the floor after my class and give me some tips.
I'm sure you appreciated that.
Because he would listen to Mr. Quirk about how to chamber and how to do this and do that, and how I, should have pivoted and had my heel. So I had a lot of people critiquing me, but you were very helpful because you want to have fun. So you come back, but we want to learn something and be focused at the same time. I do remember, and I'm going to tell the story because it's about my son, Nico. We were on Channel 12 on the morning show, and it was Nico and Mia for Karate America.
Oh, I remember that.
And Mr. Stavropoulos, who is now highly successful and setting the world on fire, he was supposed to do the I am a karate student, I practice every day, and the cameras went on, and he went. And his little sister stepped up.
That's right.
Mia stepped up, and they were both fantastic, but it's interesting how when you get out of your comfort zone time and time again and do things like get in front of a camera when you're 7, it becomes easier. You're not comfortable, but boy, does it becomes easier the more you get out of your comfort zone. So
and doing it again and again, just like exposure therapy. Just at first it freaks us out, then after a while it's like meh, just kind of get used to it. So
no, for sure.
We have a great comment here. I actually just forgot about this until this is true. So we had nothing. We had like no money. We were this teeny tiny little business. It was me and Mr. Quirk and Mr. M. Quirk trying to figure it out and keep Brookfield together in our first year. And we were coming up on our very first anniversary. And you, Mr. Stavropoulos, helped us and donated. We got a facility donated because we had nothing for that first banquet. Basically, I remember that at a restaurant. We awarded Mr. M. Quirk his black uniform that night.
Yes.
We invited our families. We had music and food, and I mean, we did not even probably have enough money in the bank account to pay for the meal that night and everything because of you. We had this really, really wonderful celebration. You and your family. We had a great celebration that night. That's true. That was coming up on 20 years ago, close to. So that was a great night.
I remember they played Back in Black, I think, as he was getting his belt. It was awesome.
His black uniform,
Yeah. And of course, in true Greek fashion, the banquet facility was Zorba's.
It was awesome. It was great.
It's what we do. It's our people, It
was great food. It was a wonderful time. People were dancing. It was an awesome celebration.
It was awesome. I'm somebody who gets pretty emotional, and I remember that night because Mr. Mark Quirk is such a nice guy, and it was so nice. And
he was surprised.
I remember it very well. Yeah, that was great.
He was pretty surprised. He was pretty choked up, and just the families were there was a line of people just to shake his hand and congratulate him, and it was just an awesome night. So
and you're still creating all those good times to this day, which is really incredible.
Yeah, well, we're so proud. I mean, now, Mr. Quirk and I are in a position, and you and I were talking earlier about being owners of a company, and it's this next generation, how well can we reproduce, right, that original product, that original feeling that we just want all of our clients to have. And when it was me and Mr. Quirk and, a little Dodge Neon that the front door didn't open and trying to come in every night and teach classes, how do we still capture that passion, that care for our students and our families, which is there even now that we're bigger. I mean, not that we're some, giant Target corporation, but we're so much bigger, thankfully, thanks to our families and students like you and the community that supported us. And now how do we still, instill that in our next generation of instructors and staff so that our families get that same level of care. And that's what our goal is every day. So
from a business standpoint, I don't know if you know this, but karate schools, I mean, you guys are incredible. Karate schools from a business standpoint don't typically do very well.
No.
And you've done incredibly well because of just who you are and what you created. And to your point, whether it be our company and what we created, how do we find more great people? Because we know they're out there and so they understand the culture. And every once in a while, as owners, as leaders, we have to step back in. And people love to see you, whether it be me visiting clients that haven't seen me in a while, or Mr. Quirk teaching a class.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's good. It's good for us to revisit created.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it can be inspiring too, even though sometimes we're not awake to that, but especially with somebody like you being such a figurehead in your business, obviously, and such a pioneer, and Mr. Quirk, in our business being such a figurehead, it's exciting for students and for clients and for staff to see that. Here's Mr. Rudy Mick. He says, bravo to all that we have shared. First celebration, Mr. Nico Stavropoulos, now in LA, a pebble in an even bigger pond. Community in action, passion to purpose. Thank you, Mr. Mick, for joining us on the live stream tonight. We really appreciate having your support. I know you've taught us so much, and you've taught Mr. Nico Stavropoulos a lot too in all the trainings that he had with you. So I'm sure he's carrying that with you to his success out in LA. But to circle back, Mr. Stavropoulos, have you considered coming back to class at all?
Absolutely. And it's interesting you say that, because since you started this live stream, I caught it and I started watching it, and it's interesting in what capacity. If you remember Mr. Ty River.
Yep.
Yeah. You guys had one
of our instructors. Yep.
Yeah. He was fantastic. And,
he was.
And in all the things you've tried, the point I'm trying to make is I would love to be involved. I loved the kicking and the punching and the sparring and the self-defense. Where I would sometimes have a challenge was remembering all the forms. And I'm just being very honest with you that I loved the workout. And so coming back in the right capacity, 100%, because it kept me in really good shape and kept me strong. Yeah. And flexing. I just don't, my point is, in what capacity? The answer is yes.
Nice.
Awesome.
Get out that red stripe belt and that blue uniform, and
still got them.
I know. I still have mine too.
I love it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, hey, now you're on record. It's on YouTube. It lives forever. You said that you'll come back. So who should reach out to you? Closer to Brookfield, closer to Pewaukee, or are you going to go worldwide, virtual from home or your office?
It's really interesting. The culture is the same both places. Brookfield is the most convenient.
That's true.
But
Mr. Kozlowski over at Pewaukee.
Mr. Kozlowski is one of my favorite people in the world.
Yeah.
And the big question is, who can handle me?
All right. Well, is that a challenge? Are you throwing down the gauntlet?
It's a little bit of a challenge. I almost got a little frightened thinking Mr. Quirk might show up and train me.
Oh, here you go. Mr. Quirk says you may need a training partner.
Yeah, I think I will. I learned a lot, because I was a wrestler for years and years, and I learned a lot. I remember Mr. Quirk, we were doing some self-defense move, and I lowered my head, and he said, in wrestling, that's okay. But then he brought his knee up to my nose and just let me know that could have broke my nose if he wanted to. But I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And I think it was clear. I gave 110% all the time. If it's okay, I'm going to share a story.
Please.
During class, we had this self-defense where you would take your belt and somebody would hold you from behind, and two people would come at you with body shields. Is that what we calling them? Body shields?
Yep.
And they'd come at you, and you'd have to defend yourself. But I kept pulling Mr. McCoy across the floor. So they put two people on me, and they were holding me back like a Clydesdale. And Nico's eyes were big as saucers. He's like, Baba, it took two guys. It was one of my favorite. It's a dad feeling strong in front of his son. And I still remember that particular day. So it's those types of drills, the strength drills, the pushing ourselves. That's what I really loved, for me personally, the most. So I will look into some of your programs and see what it is that would fit at this point.
Yeah. Well, we got Mrs. Luce Wengert here asked, she's rallying for you to join us on Worldwide, so you can have the convenience of doing it from your living room if you are in our Worldwide program. Mrs. Jury is saying, I think Mr. Meninow would like the challenge of being your training partner. We're going to have Mr. Meninow spending some more time with us here over the summer. He is coming back to Karate America Brookfield, which is very, very exciting, I think in a part-time instructor capacity. So Mrs. Pieper, I think, is still, if I'm not mistaken, Mrs. Pieper is still training on Worldwide. I believe she's coming back for classes. So it's like old home week, bringing everybody back to class. Love it.
And I really would like to get over there because Sophia Papachristou is a young girl from our church that is loving Karate America. And if she saw big Theo Mike, Theo means uncle in Greek, big Theo Mike in there, I think that would make her day. So I at least can make a guest appearance.
Yeah. Well, I think we can make sure that somebody reaches out to you to set up the best time and place, but we'll do whatever it takes to get you back. That's really exciting. And yeah, Mrs. Pieper says she is training again. And I'm not sure Mrs. Pieper, what belt are you? Or are you blue stripe or red stripe? There's a whole bunch of us that just sort of made it to like red stripe-ish. And then, I don't know, we might have a new black belt class coming up here in a few years of old rusty red stripe belts and blue stripe belts. But, speaking of coming back into class, blue stripe. Okay. Mrs. Pieper is a blue stripe. Nice. And she's in Worldwide. So there's another vote for Worldwide. I don't know. This whole train from home thing is awfully convenient. Let me tell you.
It is. I don't know if my house can handle me.
That's true. You might need the 5,000 square footer. Go. Yeah.
I think so.
But talking about challenges of coming back, I mean, if you're comfortable, what challenges, because we have parents watching, karate dads, moms, family members watching right now. Did your family, I mean, if you're comfortable talking about it, was there ever any time when anybody wanted to quit, didn't like class, whatever? I think that we've mentioned this on some of our other episodes, but it's not all rainbows and unicorns the whole way through, right?
Right.
Training in martial arts, I mean, it's life. It's built into the program. Things are going to happen. Schedules get crazy. Kids lose interest. If you and your family encountered any of that in your training journey, what was it and how did you guys get through it?
Being very straight, we loved it. Were there challenges? You could probably ask Mrs. Stavropoulos if I wasn't there and she had to get all the kids in the SUV and get them over there in winter with all the gear.
Yeah.
But no, everyone loved it. I mean, they all made it through. And I was supposed to graduate to black belt with Teddy, my youngest. Mm-hmm. And then life just got busy. I don't like to make any excuse, but we enjoyed every moment. The challenges. No, like I said, the only challenge for me was remembering the forms. That was really my only challenge. Our family went right through it and enjoyed every minute. I mean, we have so many good memories. I wish I could tell you that there was some huge challenge, but we felt a draw to come there.
Yeah.
And
it's interesting to me, like when you were telling the story of how you first met Mr. Quirk over at Pick and Save, because what strikes me is the other martial arts schools, and again, not to put any other martial arts school down in any way, but something resonated with you. And I remember when you guys started with us, I mean, we didn't have anything. We were just starting out. We were on a shoestring budget. We've told stories about which are true, that we didn't have enough money to buy 10 folding chairs for parents to watch classes. So we only had 6 for nights. And I'm sure you clearly walked in and saw that we weren't some big fancy academy with a lot of bells and whistles. And it was me and Mr. Quirk, and I was Miss Chambers back then, working up at the front office, and Mr. Quirk teaching. Yeah. Mr. Quirk,
I forgot all about it.
Teaching all the classes. And so, I think sometimes and we look back now and we're like, man, we were a couple of kids really, starting this big martial arts school and this big demographic and in the Brookfield area. So what was it that made you go with us? Was it just the connection with Mr. Quirk? Because I feel like we weren't the most slick and professional. We tried really hard, but I don't know that we were the most slick, professional, fancy place, right? That had been around for some of our competitors have been there for decades in the Brookfield market.
I can tell you something about the Karate America, where we are the melting pot of America. And I liked that, where everybody could be there as Americans. And I know that like we said, it's not any problem with any other martial arts school. It was that combined with the fact that the Quirks were really when I think of their Wisconsin, their Midwest, they're very down to earth, and the down to earth, straightforward. I mean, I have been blessed. I know good people, and I'm just being very honest with you that it just immediately I knew you were good people. And then I see the place is clean. The communication skills are great. Everything's positive. And I really liked that. And it was the entire package, but it was pretty clear having been to these other schools that this was different. Mm-hmm. And it was some of the things that Mr. Quirk was pretty strict about, to keep the place neat and clean and organized, everything. I guess I am here to pump up Mr. Quirk and Karate America. The truth is, I just knew right away. I knew right away they were good people because I believe I have a good sense of that. And the structure, the cleanliness, the straightforward. And, quite honestly, back then, as a young family, we were on a shoestring. But right. It was absolutely important to us. We wanted to do Karate America. And
with 3 kids and 2 adults, that's a big investment. And it's something that we all, to this day, like Mr. Quirk and I talk about, it's like, because of the background that he came from, because of the background that I came from, because of the way that we start a business, which wasn't a franchise, we didn't have like $1 million loan from dad to get things going or anything like that. In all honesty, we acutely understand what it's like to sit at a kitchen table and have a budget and figure out what gets paid and what doesn't and what's worth it and the investment. So we take that really seriously. We always have been, and we continue to be so honored when families make an investment in our program. We don't just take that for granted. And, with a family like yours and a lot of our families that when first started with us, it was like, this was close to 20 years ago. And we didn't have, you didn't walk in. I know you didn't walk in and see like hundreds of people and 50 people in the stands and, 30 kids out on the floor. It didn't necessarily look like this big hustling, bustling place because we were just getting started. We had like 9 students and then we had 12 students and we had 30 students. And, for you to not see this big corporate, like, oh, okay, this is a safe place to invest in, to see this small business where it's like, there's not a lot of students here. Well, to feel that from us and to invest your family's money in, your whole family, your 3 kids, yourself and your wife is just a tremendous honor that we always took. It was really sacred to us, that we needed to deliver because we felt like we understood the skin in the game that you certainly had.
Well, it's interesting when you stand back, and I can see it to this day, Nico or Mia or Teddy looking up at Mr. Quirk and him making eye contact with them and speaking to them respectfully, almost like a little adult. You know what I mean? He really didn't. He just really spoke to them, correcting them. And I'm going to share another story. During a graduation in the school, not the big black belt graduation, but you had chairs lined up on the floor. And there was a gentleman who was there to watch his child, and he was on the phone talking loudly during the graduation. And what's really neat was to watch Mr. Quirk never was disrespectful, always so respectful, and found a way to help the adult through the children. And we learned as adults, these children learn, we learned, we learned a lot of respect. And I think Karate America really, it teaches people to pay attention. And we talked a lot about Mr. Quirk. The Papa Christou family, who Sophia's in now, they said instantly that it's still that way, even if you're not there. And I think that's a credit to you. It's not, they felt the same way. They felt an absolute, everything that I sold them on or told them about and everything they saw in Nico, they saw replicated even without Mr. Quirk there.
We back?
Yep. Yeah, I don't know what you heard.
I think we might have lost Mr. Stavropoulos there for a second, but we do have, speaking of Papa Christou, we do have this great comment here from Mr. Greg Papa Christou saying Mr. Stavropoulos is the best. Mrs. Jury saying this is the family we get to choose. Love hearing stories. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we might have lost Mr. Stavropoulos. Hopefully we can get him back.
I'm not here.
But if you can hear me right now, if you're listening right now to the live, all right, are we back?
Yes.
Woo!
And we got,
That was a rough one.
that was, yeah, I was starting to
That
fire
came
a little.
completely the whole way out of that. Sorry about that, sir.
And I didn't make any moves. I just, so I'm back, right? You hear me?
You are back. I apologize. Sorry for on behalf of who's ever internet provider we're having issues with tonight.
No,
But
but
you're mentioning the Papa Christou family. We do have a comment from Mr. Greg Papa Christou. Mr. Stavropoulos is the best. So your fans are in the house tonight.
I got to hear that twice, so thank you. I heard it the first time.
You did? Okay, good.
Thank you, Mr. Papa Christou. No, I could hear you, and you could say it again if you want. No, I'm joking.
Well, it's good. It's a good thing that I kept what I was actually thinking about my internet connection on the inside and didn't actually say it out loud. So it's a good thing. And Mrs. Jerry saying the family you get to choose. Mrs. Pieper is saying, don't worry about your stories because we love hearing all your stories. That's why you're on. Oh, and look at this tech support. I can see and hear you both. Thank you, Mrs. Pieper.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
I just had a thought that maybe Greg Papa Christou gets involved and he and I get to spar at some point.
Hey, is he one of our adult students? Do you know?
Look at him. Yeah, there he is. I see him on the screen. He's not, but his daughter is. And I think Gregory and I work very closely together in our church. And he's a fantastic father. And it would be great to put on the gloves and spar a little bit.
Well, you know what? We actually have an adults and role models train free through June 18th. So we'd like to invite Mr. Papa Christou to definitely train at KA Brookfield and maybe join Mr. Stavropoulos out on the floor. And maybe Mr. Quirk will go in and just go a couple rounds with you guys with sparring. That sounds like a great idea to me. I just signed 3 people up for something that
it sounds like a great idea sitting at my desk.
Right. Absolutely.
No, I would love it. Big time.
So as a business owner, so for those of you who don't know, Mr. Stavropoulos is an owner of a local business. He's owner of Ground Crew Service. You guys do, I can say this because we've been a client of yours for years. You take care of our property, one of our rental properties. You do a phenomenal job with lawn mowing, snow removal, tree trimming, just landscaping. And you've been serving our community now for, what is it, over almost 30 years. Is that right?
26. Yep.
26 years. So you are a business owner out in the community. We don't have a lot of time left on the stream, but I did want to hear from you, having that perspective now of all the things that you've said martial arts has done for your kids. Is it something do you see these values out in the community as something that I think we need? What do you think as adults holding ourselves out in the community, business, church, just being people out there? I think that martial arts is so beneficial for anybody of any age, especially kids, of course, but even for adults. What do you think?
Oh, I think absolutely. And it's interesting at work here, we have a few people that have trained in the martial arts. One woman is still training in the martial arts. And I think for the most part, the discipline and the confidence that comes along with it. Mm-hmm. It's interesting in business. It's not always. In our business, I'm a contractor. I'm a landscape contractor, and sometimes it's not. We're very, how do I say it? We're more polite than most contractors, and it's the confidence and the assertiveness in a polite way with open, honest conversation with confidence that we get a lot done. And I think I recognized that when I had an interaction with a vendor who was a little bit aggressive with me. And it's just having the confidence in the way you present yourself. And maybe it's because in the back of your mind, that you're physically able to handle yourself, but more importantly, you're able to see a situation way beforehand.
Yeah.
And prepare yourself. And I think that a lot of times I've been able to with the confidence that karate gives you, with the discipline it gives you to control your emotions and to focus, I really believe that it's helped me to navigate the business world when sometimes things get hot. And
That's
it
a
doesn't
great
always
point.
happen. I find that people won't approach me with anything negative because I won't let it affect me. And
Yeah, low drama. You will
yeah,
not reward drama. Yeah.
and sometimes that does come from feeling, I don't remember where this is from, but with great power comes great responsibility. And if you build yourself up to be powerful in your mind and in your body and confident in everything you're doing because you're doing everything for the right reason, might for right, it helps because you don't run into that many situations, but you hope to inspire people through what you've learned. And so it's definitely helped us in the community and the relationships that we've made over the years. I mentioned to you earlier, the Krauses were a family that was in karate. And Mr. Krause and I still do business to this day. I saw him today. So it's martial arts, it's family, and it's relationships across the community. The Cardellas were another family we're still doing business with and we're friends with to this day. The McCoys, it goes on and on. Your Karate America family is, you probably realize it, but it's a lot bigger than maybe you realize, and the ripple effect you've had. And I want to come back to Rudy Mick because Nico talks so much about him, so positively about him. I need to experience what he has to offer.
Yeah.
Not through other people. I hear he's fantastic. And so,
he is a very, very, very exceptional and special leader, mentor, coach. And absolutely. You do. Everybody does. Everybody needs to experience what he has to offer firsthand, because it's definitely life-changing, and we wouldn't be the company that we are today without some of the coaching and the guidance that we've gotten from him. So,
well, I think that's so important too. Perhaps your willingness to go outside of the karate school, and myself as well. I hire a business coach, and I hire a strength coach, and we hired martial arts coaches, and it's important. It's important. So Mr. Mick, I understand, has had a big effect on the school and the progress and everything.
Yeah.
So it's so important to be self-aware that maybe you could use some coaching in many different ways, no matter who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that as adults, it's like sometimes we forget that, right? Yeah, and life gets in the way, and we get tired, and we get busy, and I understand it. And we still have more to learn. And even sometimes things that I heard a great saying once, it's like sometimes adults, we don't need to be taught, but we need to be reminded. And sometimes it's really just refreshing to, whether it's podcasts or TED Talks or live streams or, coaching sessions or whatever, we still need to have that stimulation of an outside force holding us accountable and saying, hey, have you thought of this? Hey, have you looked at yourself lately in this way, this way, this way? And that's so powerful for growth. And it's one of the great things I think about training in martial arts, because it's like literally viscerally going out onto the floor a few times a week. And I'm not, we talked last week about people that were like doctors and big fancy CEOs, but when they came into that school and to that academy and saluted and went out on the floor, we leave everything behind and we're just a student. We're just a green belt, or we're just a white belt, or we're just a whatever belt, and we're just there to learn together with equals on the floor. It's really powerful. And I don't think as adults that we get that in a lot of areas of our life. I mean, we can join a gym and, softball leagues and things like that, but it's really special what happens, going to your point, going out and training and taking class with other people in that format.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm just thinking, I know we don't have much more time, but I'm thinking of Mr. Van Browning years ago. I think he was a 10th degree master black belt and taught self-defense. And I could tell story. He was fun. He made learning fun. And he picked on me a couple times because I wouldn't go down in self-defense. They did something here to my collarbone to make and he came over and he applied it the proper way, and I dropped my knees. So years of training pays off, because
he's a legendary martial artist, Mr. Ron Van Browning. So that's something that you can say that's like on your bucket list, is that you've been dropped by Master Van Browning.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
It was something about my jaw and a nerve back here, and nobody could, even Mr. Gavin couldn't get me down. If you remember,
I remember Mr. Gavin. We used to have to get two the headpiece for sparring.
Yes.
Because he was just such a big hulking guy, and he had to like put two of them together because his head was too big for one piece of headgear. He couldn't have one. The Century, everybody, we tried to source it out, and nobody had a big enough one for his head, and he wore two together. And he had these like, giant paws, like his mitts barely fit. He was the sweetest guy. So nice.
Absolutely. And to that point, Mr. Van Browning was half his size. Mr. Gavin couldn't get me to the ground. Mr. Van Browning came one little, and I dropped. So it's technique too, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's technique.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Well, we are coming to the end of our hour here. I just wanted to throw it out to anybody who has not yet asked a question, made a comment, just left anything you want to leave in the comments for Mr. Stavropoulos. We do have him here for a couple more minutes. I wanted do that's the website to go to support a local business owned by Mr. Stavropoulos and his family. I can tell you, like I said, Mr. Cork and I have used them for years. They do amazing service, very world-class customer service, world-class landscaping, snow removal, things like that. They're right in Brookfield. They're a small local business. Make sure you look them up, give them some support. Phone number is 262-821-9680. Anything else you wanted to say about your business, about Ground Crew, anything? This is your platform while we still have an internet connection.
Just, check out the website. Know that we support local schools and we support charities, and we love to give back, and we love improving the landscaping. We have a plant healthcare division. We really love what we do, and I think that's the key. Everyone here loves what they do, and that's where it starts. So you can be in any business, but if you're passionate about what you do, we are. We work half days, 12 hours. Yeah, that's what we say. So we're here to serve. Check
Love it. Love it.
Thank you.
Mr. Pieper, last comment of the night. I'm loving the old stories, sir. Me too. And, I can't help it. Like most of the people that I know are all the old original Karate America families. So I keep thinking of these people to have on that we can have some of these good stories. But I hope that you guys at home have enjoyed this conversation with Mr. Stavropoulos. I hope that you got something out of it. Thank you so much for joining us. It has really been a pleasure to have you guys hang out here with us for this hour on Tuesday. If you have any questions about anything that we talked about, getting back in class, special events, birthday parties, 4th of July picnic coming up, anything like that, just make sure that you follow up with your team at Karate America. We are here to answer all your questions. Mr. Stavropoulos, thank you for making time. I know you're a really, really busy guy. Thank you for taking time out of your week to be here on the live stream with us. It was really, really a pleasure to have you for this hour, sir.
My pleasure. I feel important. I remember suddenly I'm Nico's dad.
Yeah.
Wait. Yeah. I used to be his father, but now I'm introduced as, his dad. So I'm glad he had such an impact on Karate America, and hopefully he can make it home and make an appearance because you guys helped create him. So the good man that he is was because of Karate America. So stay the course, parents, and put in the hard work. So you guys are awesome, and thank you for making me feel special and having me on your live stream. We love you. We support you. And I hope to be in class in some capacity. We'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, we will have maybe an upcoming, we'll check back with you if you would come back. Hopefully you've had a good enough time that you'd be a returning guest on our live stream. So maybe we'll check back with you in a few months and see how that red stripe belt is coming along, sir. So thank you everybody again for watching. Make sure if you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, it's Karate America Community. We're hoping to get to 140 subscribers. We are at 138. So just a couple more subscribers would mean a lot to us. Thank you for your time tonight. Join us next week right back here on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, on the KA Community live stream every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. We'll see you next week. Everybody have a great week. Thanks again.
Thank you.